Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from SkiEssentials.com. Welcome to our 2026 ski test. Today we're talking about the Black Crow's Octo. Really fun ski. It's kind of like the younger brother or younger cousin sort of to the Miras Core. I'd say cousin is more accurate because there are some differences here compared to the Miras Core. The Octo is 100% a directional ski as opposed to the twin tip shape that we see in the Miras Core, but they do share some pretty similar vibes. Another thing that differentiates them is this Octo uses a poplar wood core, but it doesn't have the metal in it that the Miras Core does. It is like pretty thick, and Black Crow's does a lot with just controlling performance of a ski through shape and core thickness. And I think Octo here is a pretty good example of that. This is a 173.4 centimeter length, and we're at 1,622 grams. So it's also quite lightweight, you know, taking that metal out and just using poplar as a wood core. It's not particularly dense or heavy. That's how they achieve that pretty light weight. And a pretty supportive flex pattern. In fact, despite not having metal, I think if you flexed it back to back with the Miras Core might actually be a little bit softer overall, but the stiffness I don't think just directly translates to its performance if you were to compare it right back to back with the Miras Core. And we can do that, but before we do that, let's look at the shape here. So quite a bit of camber underfoot. I think that's really important to its performance. And then a decent amount of tip rocker, but not much. You know, it's really only a decent amount when you consider the ski is 84 underfoot. And then back here in the tail, there's really no tail rocker. Maybe, I don't know, a company like Stokely would probably tell you that that's tail rocker, but to me that's not any tail rocker whatsoever. And then a little bit of early taper to its shape, very similar to what we see in the Miras Core. If anything, just like a little bit less, especially here in the tail where we have that flatter tail profile instead of the twin tip shape. We had a bunch of different people on the Octo this year. I actually got to spend more time on it this season than I ever have before. And it's a very fun ski, and I think something that would make a really good tool for a lot of different skiers. It is very intuitive. It's very easy to ski. That 14-meter turn radius, I think we forgot to mention that in shape. That's very similar to Miras Core, which has a 13-meter turn radius. And with those smaller turn radii, the ski is really eager in how it kind of encourages you to enter into a carving turn. And I think that's really nice. The Octo, I find, prefers more of a medium speed limit and also kind of maybe more medium angulation in how you're making your turns. I think that on the Miras Core, you can get a slightly higher edge angle and push it a little bit more. Not surprising with that metal underfoot, where the Octo, you know, if you were to kind of think about it as more of like a 60-degree edge angle rather than like an 80-degree edge angle, that's where I really like skiing the Octo, and I think it performs really well there. So a few different really good applications for this ski, and I think we saw a lot of this reflected in the feedback from our ski test. If you're looking for a very rewarding groomer ski that you don't have to go fast on to hit its like highest level of performance, the Octo is great. And I don't mean that it has kind of like a step down for highest level of performance. I just mean to feel the rewarding things about skiing, like lateral acceleration and angulation and bending a ski. You don't have to go super fast, and I think that's like kind of refreshing and a reason why the Miras Core developed a following, and now the same reason really why this Octo is a great ski. I've always thought that this would be a great like learning tool. I mean, I think an accomplished skier, a very experienced skier will get on it and love it. But if you're like looking for a ski to learn to carve better, I think a lot of people like instinctually go narrower to a more dedicated front side carver, something that's coming with the binding integrated into it and probably narrower. But realistically, a ski like this Octo is like kind of perfect for learning how to carve better because it is supple and it is easy to ski. Jeff Carpenter, he's a gentleman who's worked with us a number of times over the years, usually seasonally. Very, very good skier. He got on it in our ski test and had some really, really good feedback. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he said it loves to make quick, short turns on groomers. It just absolutely loves it. And then he also said that if you are looking to go faster and like kind of inject some speed into your skiing, that's where it can get a little bit squirrely. It just might not hold an edge super, super well on especially firm snow on steep terrain at high speeds. You could say similar things about the Miras Core in that it does lack some high speed performance, but I think you feel it even a little bit more in the Octo here. And then the other application for this ski that it does just fine is when you start taking it off trail. So if you go ski some moguls on it, if you kind of wander through some low snow trees, performs just fine. The shorter turn radius, it does give you more of a round feel when you're kind of turning through ungroomed terrain rather than a slash or a pivoty feel. But a lot of people really like that rounder skiing, and it kind of gives you a little bit easier control over your speed because the ski's always wanting to do something. So it's not my favorite mogul ski in the world, but it absolutely can do it. And then just like the combination of fun factor and a rewarding feel and ease of use would be just such a good ski for a huge portion of the skiing population. Most skiers out there spend most of their time on groomers that are moderately pitched. You know, blue squares, packed powder, not going too fast. That is a sweet spot for the Black Crow's Octo, and just tons of people would really benefit from it. So that's it. That is the Black Crow's Octo. Let us know if you have any questions about it, and we will see you out there on the slopes.